Good morning. Welcome back to the Daily Bible Chapter. It is June the 24th of 2022. It's Friday. Let me know if you're ready for the end of the week. And today we are reading 1 Samuel chapter 31. And this is the end of Saul. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell slain on Mount Gilboa. Then the Philistines followed hard after Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchijah, Saul's sons. The battle became fierce against Saul. The archers hit him, and he was severely wounded by the archers. Then Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and thrust me through with it, lest these uncircumcised men come and thrust me through and abuse me." But his armor-bearer would not, for he was greatly afraid. Therefore Saul took a sword and fell on it. And when his armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell on his sword and died with him. So Saul, his 3 sons, his armor-bearer, and all his men died together that same day. And when the men of Israel who were on the other side of the valley, and those who were on the other side of the Jordan, saw that the men of Israel had fled, and that Saul and his sons were dead, they forsook the cities and fled, and the Philistines came and dwelt in them. So it happened the next day, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, that they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. And they cut off his head and stripped off his armor, and sent word throughout the land of the Philistines to proclaim it in the temple of their idols and among the people. Then they put his armor in the temple of the Ashtaroths, and they fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. Now when the inhabitants of Jabesh-Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all the valiant men arose and traveled all night, and took the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan, and they came to Jabesh and burned them there. Then they took their bones and buried them under the tamarisk tree at Jabesh, and fasted 7 days. 1 Samuel chapter 31. As I read through here, I think about the expression where it talks about, Saul falling on his sword, and, I think, or maybe I wondered as I was reading there, is that the first time we've heard this, because it's the first time I'm thinking about it and remember hearing it in the Bible, and yet that's still an expression that we use today. And so as I was reading through there, it just kind of reminded me that, so much of what the Bible talks about and so much of what it says is still alive and active today. Like, we are still, even though it's just an expression that we use today, fell on a sword, or, whatever, I would assume that's where this came from, through this translation of the Bible. And, that's not exactly I guess a good thing, but as far as falling on your sword, but it just hits me how much of the Bible is honestly still in active use in our everyday lives, or not necessarily in our everyday lives, but in society, how much of the Bible is used in everyday ways. Anyway, that's kind of an unfleshed out thought, but it's what I was thinking about as I was reading through there today. And so anyway, this is the end of 1 Samuel, and I hope you've enjoyed reading through 1 Samuel, and tomorrow we will start 2 Samuel, and I hope you have a great day.